Hi, everybody. Kind of repeating myself. This is Scott Boyd. I'm the UYSA. What am I? Lead commissioner, I guess. Also here, Holly is here from the Referees Association, as well as Michelle Wixom, who's with us at UYSA. The plan is to, let's see. The plan is to get the right document up. There we go. One quick Zoom with PowerPoint. Just so you know, this video and the PowerPoint, I will get a copy to Holly so she can have up on the referees website starting tomorrow. We'll also have it on the UYSA website. So here we go. August 29th. First of all, thank you. We very much appreciate you. This is just the standard one we send out for the how do I get paid. It's sending your information to uysaar@gmail.com to get that set up. It is a stupid system. We know it's a stupid system. We don't like the system, but it functions. Down at the bottom, it says, fingers crossed for a new improved referee-friendly system soon. We've been promising that for a year and a half. We're still beta testing it down south. We hope to get all the bugs worked out, and we want it to be working perfectly first. So that's what the delay is. John Simon, thank you for your professionalism. Should be no surprise to any of you. It is a little frustrating to everybody when ARs come running up to the game 5 minutes after the game starts. We all know how frustrating that is. We do have an expectation of professionalism. You should look like a professional. You'll act like a professional. We all know that. Standard notes that you expect. Nothing too surprising there. This is a new slide. We've had some issues in smaller areas, areas where it turns out that the referees and the ARs are all probably in the same club and or from the same family or whatever the case may be. Okay, look at the bottom. The bottom sentence is probably the one that means the most. Although everyone knows there's familiarity in these small areas, the away team should feel like they were treated equally. That takes a little bit of extra focus, especially if you know the other team well. All right, here we go. Zero tolerance. And somebody, Michelle, can you tell who's got their phone on so we can mute that? Okay, zero tolerance. Here's the key note. Zero tolerance is enforced by USA, not by the referee on the field. Zero tolerance is basically out there. The coaches know about it. The parents should know about it. The clubs know about it. It is the big hammer that I have on the back end. Okay. If you need to use it in your toolbox, more along the line of, hey, you guys know about zero tolerance, let's knock it off. Great. But it's not your job to enforce zero tolerance. If you need to remove somebody from the field, you can. The whole plan is not to have a silent sideline, it's to eliminate inappropriate behavior. And the reality is it's to eliminate repeating bad behavior. If somebody screws it up once, I'm going to smack them and then we're be done. Okay. Make sure we're on mute if possible. For me to be able to handle it, I need a complete report. As much information as possible. The more you put in the report, the better it is for me. There is, if you guys want to look at the later, want to look at the PowerPoint, here's the link, zero tolerance, frequently asked questions. It's what we're telling the parents, coaches, etc., what you can and can't say. So we want that to be pretty consistent. Coach misbehavior is exactly the same as it always has been. Coaches can always ask for a clarification from a call. And you guys all know there's a couple different ways to do it. One is them looking at you and say, what did you see? And you will probably answer them. If they're screaming at you, how did you call that? That is not asking for clarification. That's dissent. Okay, so we all know the difference. When offense committee offender can't be identified, senior team coach, president, technical area received the sanction. Yep. And that's for parental behavior too. Let's make sure the coaches are warned though before we start giving them a card for parental behavior so they have the chance to fix it. And always public, personal, provocative, profane, persistent remarks directed to and or about the referee are not allowed. Yep, none of that has changed. We have your back on that. Same as it has been. Ask, tell, and dismiss. Frequently asked questions. This is what we're telling the parents. Okay. First of all, referees have always had the ability to clear a sideline if the sideline is becoming a problem. You still do. We definitely suggest you talk to the coach, you explain it, and work with it. If or after you do that and you write up a good report, smash the game review requested button so I know what happened and it will pop up on my screen when I come into the office. We don't expect the sideline to be silent. Something happened and people go, handball. That's not a problem. What's a problem is 5 seconds later, screaming out, you've got to call that handball. Okay, now it's a problem because they're telling you what to do rather than just being an exclamation. Same thing with the offside, right? Boom, the thing happens, everybody else, offside. It either gets called or it doesn't. They're done. That's all we need to hear from them. To be fair, complaints are part of sports. Exclamations happen. We know that. We have thick skin. We make sure the difference between, the difference between exclamations and direct or pointed dissent. We have your back on all the above, but we do also want to make sure that we don't overdo it because I have people complaining that referees have God complex, which surprises me because God gets complained at all the time, but that's an aside. All right. Who can talk to the referee? Coaches, please do. We encourage them to introduce themselves, to start the relay. Throughout the match, anything stated to the referee should be done with respect. Players, absolutely. Players should be talking to the referee all the time, right? As long as they're respectful. What did I do? What did you call me for? You did this. Okay, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Parents, no reason to at all. Sorry. And that's what we're teaching them. And yes, we know, and people still screw this up. There is no reason for a team manager or somebody to come over and get your name or try to take a video of you so they know it is not. How do they think you're getting paid? Sorry. Sometimes there's idiocy. This is specifically from Lee Davis and from our coaching of the coaches. We're introducing them that the whole point for coaches, referees, and parents is to build relationships, understanding the opposing side of view, set a great example, work together to put the development players first. And the coaches this is specifically what we're teaching the coaches. Again, all this PowerPoint will be on both websites tomorrow. So if you want to be able to use some of these to talk to the coaches, you can. They need to understand the officials and officiating. They need to focus on their job. Don't humiliate, criticize, or embarrass. Watch the language and don't question the referee's integrity. I cannot tell you how many times I've had this conversation with parents. Well, all you yelled is call it both ways. So you are now questioning the referee's integrity to call it both ways. You're saying he or she is not doing so. Okay. Yeah, that's going to aggravate just about every referee out there. Okay. This is one of the new ones for this one because we see this all the time. Somebody can quickly put down in the chat if you'd like the answer to where's the referee safe space. I didn't put it on this field setup because we don't actually have it listed, which is home team and away team. But somebody put it in there so we'll read it out a little bit later. The whole idea is the benches with the coaches and the players who are subbing in are in the same areas where the ARs are. All the spectators over on the other side. If people are sitting in other areas and they're away from the field and they're not making noise, right? Nobody cares. If they're sitting in areas where they're not supposed to be and they are making noise, Yeah, you gently either ask them or better, you look to the coach and say, is that one of yours? Like, yeah, okay, let's have them moved where they're supposed to be. But we don't want things like there's people who film, there's people who take pictures, there's people who are, frankly, the family of the goalkeepers. They want to be a little bit closer to them. Great. If you say nothing, you're probably okay. But it's the moment you start talking that is going to be a problem. Field setup, I'm less worried about at 9 and 10U because we have certified club linesmen that are actually their own people. And frankly, the field's really small and a lot of people show up for the games. So it's hard to get them all on one side. That's for 9 and 10. Once we get to 11, once there's ARs, let's follow the field setup properly. All right, here we go. Know your rules. Build outlines for 9U and 10U. That information is on the Utah Refs website. No heading all the way from 9U through 12U. If somebody hits the ball with their head, we typically try to use the word intentionally hits the ball with their head. It is an indirect free kick. There are no scores, no standings for 9U, 10U, and 11U. I'm repeating 9U, 10U, and 11U. That would be the 2015 teams, the 2014 teams, and the 2013 teams. 99% of our teams have the year of birth in the name of the team. So if you see Sparta 13, that means they were born in 2013. It's an 11U team. It's no scores, no standings. Information, as always, on our website. Okay. 9U, 10U, and 11U, because it is no scores, may use a tournament roster with photos. That's okay. We don't mind. The whole goal is to get the kids to play. We are not as worried about the rosters other than they have to be registered to UYSA. Game report is required. Enter your comment in the comment box will automatically say the score is 0-0, which is good because that's the score we want saved. 0-0, that way we know the game happened. In the comment box, if you would like to, you can enter the team name and score for each team. That score line, by the way, was put in specifically for Lee Davis. And again, scores entered in the score box must be 0-0. Here's a hint. If you put in goal scorers in 9, 10, or 11, if you put in their name under the goal score dropdown, it automatically puts a score in the score box. So don't do it, nor do we care. It's 9, 10, 11. We're not even counting scores. We don't need to know who the scorers are. All right, CCLs, if you guys haven't heard, they're mandatory. Use them. If people are there with their vest, thank them. Okay, hey, I'm glad you're here to help me. Give them a little bit of instruction, off you go. The video they need to watch is all of 5 minutes and 30 seconds long. Okay, which basically says call in and out of bounds, call over the end line, and help the referee keep track of where kids are on substitutions. Oh, and make sure your parents aren't being jerks. That's it. That's their whole instruction. I like the vests because it reminds people that they're actually there doing it for a purpose. So every team has the vest. If they say they don't have the vest, just look up and say, call UYSA. Okay, another new one for this year. This one is really unfortunate. This year at regionals, both President's Cup and Far West, Utah lost 3 players who were ejected for pretty much the entirety of the tournament because they wanted to use the N-word ending with an A because a certain segment of our youth population has decided to take it as their own. They use it with each other in practice. They use it with each other at times during the games. If you hear it, it's the word. It's an ejection. Write it up in the report. I'm going to turn around and give them another game suspension. We're going to completely knock it out of the game. So it happens. Unfortunately, now the only positive I will say about this is this group is using it with pretty much everybody. It does not seem to be targeted. So that's positive, but yeah, we're getting rid of it. This is something we sent out to the coaches of the 15U through the 19U. We asked the coaches to treat cautioned players like the high school association treats cautioned players, and immediately asked to sub the player out of the game. Our 15 through 19 boys, we love them, but when they're hot, they're knuckleheads. And it's way better to get them off the field, let the coaches calm them down before they come back in. So always under USSF, substitutions are pretty much 100% at the referee's discretion. If somebody asks to sub somebody when you called a foul and caution the player, please let them. Right now, every once in a while, the referee will look at the coach and say, "Is the player injured?" And they say, "Yes." And you're like, "Okay, then you can sub." UYSA is telling you, let's take advantage, get them off the field. Let's keep a bad situation from becoming a horrible situation. Okay, mass confrontation policy. I'm not touching on what yours is for referees. I know you guys have been taught it. I know you're taught to triangulate. I know you guys are taught when it, if at all possible, don't touch anybody, use the whistle, and take numbers. Here's what our instructions are to the players. Get your players out of it, and players on the bench, stay on the bench. Coaches, we allow the coaches during a mass confrontation to come onto the field immediately to de-escalate the situation by removing their players. Okay, we want them to do everything they can to just grab their players, not grab anyone else's. And then finally, parents, we want them off the field. Always want them off the field. If they ever step on the field, it had better be only to remove their player from the confrontation. In every mass confrontation we've had, when we've had parents or coaches touch, and I do mean touch somebody from the other team, we've had massive issues, including multiple times where people will immediately call the cops. Now, the cops then figure it out and don't do anything, but parents lose their minds. So don't touch your people. I like to call this the NBA rule. It's very similar to how the NBA handles mass confrontation. Game reports, they matter. Okay, I need them. We need to know what the heck happened. The better the game report, the happier we are. There's a lot of information as far as what, where, when. Most of y'all are doing a great job. I don't have major complaints. Here's the elements: who, what, when, details. Use the review request button, punch it, right? If there's an ejection, I want to know about it. Hit the review requested button. And yeah, you don't want Scott or Holly calling you. So, you know, the more information we can get, the better. Okay, I put this up there mostly because you guys are all going to chuckle, because every single one of you has probably had this exact ejection. Without going into a whole bunch of detail, there's a foul. The referee decided to allow advantage. It ended up being a corner. Went to the coaches to explain. They decided to complain and complain and complain. They kept complaining even after the conversation was done. Here's your caution. Turned around to get the game going, yelled at me again, start making the calls. So I dismissed him from the game. We've all heard that. They have to get the last word in, and they end up getting rejected. I get this game report, there's no question and no problem, and I very much appreciate it. This next one is tiny. So let me kind of explain what the comment is. Player didn't appear on the game day roster. The digital player card was pink, and they couldn't figure out if he was eligible. The team claimed up, down, left, and right that he is absolutely eligible, and they would forfeit the game if he played and he wasn't eligible. Okay, the referee did exactly what he was supposed to do. He let the kid play, gave me the report, smashed the game comment review. Okay, we reviewed it. Yep, the player was eligible. Some snafu in the system. So, you know, we all want to get it right, At the end of the day, if a team is willing to stake their reputation and frankly a forfeit, which if they play an illegal player is usually a -3 forfeit, not that you get 0 points and lose the game, you lose 3 points off of your season total for a forfeit. They don't want to forfeit, so usually they've got a pretty good reason. So that's very much a Law 18 issue. Okay. Accurate rosters. If there is any inaccuracy or there seems to be a dispute between the teams as far as what is the proper roster, document it. Put it in the game report. Okay. Coach Blank was marked as red line on the away team roster, but was listed good on his team's roster. Yeah, because the away team roster was done earlier in the day, and later in the day, the coach had gotten his concussion protocol done and got cleared for the game, right? Just give us the information. We'll make sure the people are correct. Under that scenario, yes, let the game go forward with the coach on the bench, as long as it is completely noted. Use your correct codes. All coach ejections are CE for coach ejection. The reason is that code then gives an automatic 2-game suspension. Side note, referees, coaches who get ejected get a 2-game suspension. It is, for many of these younger age groups, literally a quarter of their season. Let's make dang sure they deserve it. Okay, often they do. We'll back you, but let's make sure they deserve it. And then mentors, if you're here and you've been around a long time and Holly has asked you, or you've asked Holly if you could, or somebody has said you should be a mentor, please do. Just the other day, I got to watch a little 15-year-old do his first ever center on a U11 boys red SCL. He had a 15 and 16-year-old ARs and a mentor. It was great. The game was fairly easy, but it was a good learning experience for him. It was great to see the mentor there. Okay. Hard to explain how important Law 18 is, but this is part of communication with coaches and common sense, right? Most of the time, when we spend enough time thinking about it, we can figure out where the other side's coming from and we can get to the right spot. But sometimes it takes a little bit of patience. Sometimes it takes slowing everybody down, calming everybody down, and then making the right decision. And that's it. As always, smash the game comment review button whenever you possibly can. And there is, I'm trying to get off of, there we go. And stop share. Okay, now I get to figure out how many comments there were. Welcome, hello. What is zero tolerance? Oh, wow. Okay, zero tolerance came into effect during the spring of 22. At the time, Brian Smith was our president. He got tired, so tired of all the issues we were having and the fact we were losing referees left and right. Okay, and because of that, we put the zero tolerance in place. Basically, if we get a report and the sideline is bad and we can't, and they simply won't handle it, we will suspend that whole sideline for the whole season. That team would then be left with just the coach, assistant coach, and team manager for the rest of their games. This happened to 8 or 9 times during the spring of 2022, about 8 times during the fall of 2022, 2 times during the spring of 2023. Okay, people got the message and we got that handled. Okay, the jewelry issue, you're the ref that day, and it's your decision as far as the safety on that field. We're not going to, UYSA is not going to overrule you on that. We're just not. What happens when they do aggravate me? Should I give them a yellow card or just tell them no? or as far as for players with jewelry, Yeah, just tell them no. You probably don't need to give them the yellow card. Just who aggravates you, coaches and parents? Okay. What does no scores, no standings mean? 9U, 10U, and 11U are playing games where the scores are entered as 0-0 and there are no standings in their league at all. The goal is development at the younger ages. We found that teams trying to play for promotion relegation at those younger ages were taking shortcuts. And so we're trying to help develop players everywhere. So 9U, 10U, 11U, 2015s, 2014s, 2013s have 0 scores. The score you enter, because you have to enter it, because that way we know the game happened, is 0-0. In comments below, you can put down what the actual score was. What is a caution player? Thank you. Somebody got way ahead of me. I have a kid. Well, the word, J.R. Ramirez, yes, that has happened. And a black kid said, I can use that word? He said, absolutely you can, off this field and not at school. Those are 2 times what I would not recommend you use this word. So don't do it. It happens all the time. Okay. Well, if I'm going to make the report, you have access to the game. Right. Yes. Both the game review and the match report are right in the same area where you received your assignment. You can check on there's both of them. The match review is where you check the box that you were there. The game report is the one that comes up and gives you the opportunity to put in comments, put in the score, and anything else you need to do, and smash the review button if you need me to see it. Most refs don't use their cards in U13 game on coaches or player. Yep, that's true. Why not? If they deserve it, it's a learning experience. Okay, shouldn't happen much. Coaches, if they deserve it, absolutely give it at that age, because that's when they're being an example. Let's see. Michelle's answering good questions. Good, thank you. Fast and to the point. Well, that's what I liked. Is it Michelle gave me a compliment. I'm fast to the point. Yes. By the way, side note, yes, if a parent decided to pierce somebody's ears in the middle of the season, that really is on them. Okay. If you can talk the referee and letting the kid play with the tape on their ears, great. If you can't, that's you. That's not the rest of us. So sorry. Where is I have no idea what word that is. What rule is it? Oh, developmental. 9 through 11 rules are found on UYSA's website. 9 through 11 rules, I believe, are also on Utah Ref's website. Holly is nodding. So they're both there. For you 12 and up, do you put the score in the score box? Please do. Absolutely. Preferably the correct score, because that helps everybody. Who is the new director of instruction replacing Charles? Not Scott Boyd. Just to clarify that right now. I don't know. Holly, do we know yet, or what's going on?
No comment.
No comment.
We are in the process.
Oh, I have a recommendation, but you
That's great. I've heard your recommendation from UYSA, and we're not vetting that right now. So we're not talking about it. So
do we have any other question? Brad Peterson volunteered himself. That's excellent. Any other questions or comments? How do we sign up to get paid? Okay, scrolling all the way back to literally the first page of this PowerPoint. So if you missed that, it'll be up tomorrow on both Utah Refs and UYSA, is the information on where you sign up and how you get it signed up to get paid.
Or they can just email me.
Or email Holly, whatever you like. And I will be blunt, it's a pain in the tail. Again, we're working to get it fixed. But once you get it done, I promise it's not impossible. People, how do we do that? Because Holly is awesome. Wait a minute, Holly, how did you imitate Jeremy Robertson. Okay.
I didn't, but I'll take it. Thanks, Jeremy.
Hey, kid. There's a walkthrough on the UYSA. Yep. Start games have been accepted in the trade room. Okay. Say I'm using my dad. Okay. Yeah. All the questions about getting paid and all the rest of it, you can bounce them off of Holly. If Holly can't figure it out, then we bounce it off of UYSA. If we can't figure it out, then we bounce it off of Arbiter. We get you paid. I promise you, you're gonna get paid. Hey, any other questions? I mean, for the most part, almost everything we're talking about is game management and the paperwork. Yeah, those are the two things that UYSA would like. Learning the game, being good at what you do is up to you. And we appreciate everybody for being here. We know you wouldn't be referees if you didn't love the game. And we absolutely need you. And have to contact Holly to get a mentor? Not necessarily. Whoever your referee assigner is.
Assigner, your referee assigner. Each referee assigner has certain mentors in their area. I just responded to it. Please ask if you want to ask me, that's fine, but I'll direct you to your assigner in that area. So.
And absolutely suggest anybody, their first center, see if you can get a mentor. That's fantastic. They can give you so many pieces of information that makes it so easy on you. Lee, from the coach's side, do you have anything you feel you need to add?
I think you covered it. I would just reiterate that we're encouraging coaches now in grassroots education to come and introduce themselves to you, try and build a rapport with you. The last thing we want to have is where coaches get really frustrated, and we understand it from your standpoint. We support you with what you're doing, your game management tactics. But where they get super upset is when they get ignored. And there's a respect line that they cannot cross. But if it's a respectful question to you guys, we just ask that you take a moment whenever there's an opportunity to just to hear them out and explain what you saw. And you know what, there's times where you're going to see it different, and that's completely acceptable. And coaches have got to understand that might come across from them. So we just ask to work on building these relationships. We want everybody to be, doing their best to be an example to the kids. At the end of the day, the kids are going to be the ones who come through and coach beyond this or referee beyond this. And we can create a positive culture by setting the right example. So that's all we're asking of the coaches. We're covering a good 20 minutes of their 4-hour course is covered on each night of their course is covered on how to create a good environment and how to work with referees now. So hopefully that helps. We want you guys to be supported. We want you guys to have good relationships with coaches, because you're going to run into them more often than you know. And we want to help support that. So that's all I have.
Cool. Somebody just said a bunch of people are leaving. Are we allowed to leave? Yes, we pretty much. I think we've gotten just about everything in. Somebody had a question, which is not a bad question. If you've got the audio system and you have a mentor with the audio system with the person on the center, is it worthwhile to try to do that during mentoring? Holly is saying, please no. U.S.
It
soccer
is not
recommend.
U.S. soccer does not allow you to use head comms in youth games. This is where they want them to learn and grow in their positions as a crew member on a field. So unfortunately, no, you may not use a head system. That's why you don't see it at State Cup. That's why you don't see it in league. So other than the mentor being able to talk to that crew at half and after the game, that's the only time they're able to get that recommendation. So.
All right. Anyone else? Going in 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Again, Thank you. The game, class dismissed. The games don't happen without you all. We know that. Okay. So thank you very much. Please continue being awesome. Anytime you have a question, issue, contact the office. We're more than happy to talk to you and help you deal with the problem. And including if you wrote up a big report and you haven't heard anything, it's not because I didn't like the report, it's because I'm busy on the backside doing the discipline for the report and may not have had time to be able to get back to you to say that was good. Oh, side note, every once in a while I get video. I love it when I get video because more often than not, I end up sending the video to the referee and saying, you did a great job. Thank you. So good night, you all. Have fun.